Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio, and with me today is Seth Geis and Jiunn Liu. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining this threesome, everybody.
That's right.
It's no longer a threesome.
So today we are talking about the Illusione OneOff Corona, 5.5 inch by 42 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabs factory in Nicaragua. Uh, the blend is listed as all Nicaraguan, so wrapper, binder, filter, blended by Dion Giolito, and the price point is $12.95. Cigar was released in June of 2018. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your smoking experience like?
Flavor profile wise is actually pretty straightforward. So within the whole cigar and smoking it, I got kind of what you expect from cigars made out of Aganorsa. You get a lot of readiness, you get a lot of toast out of it. Cedar, you get like a like mannered spice delivery. Specifically on this one, I got a lot of like a dried red pepper out of it. What's interesting about this cigar is I got quite a bit of tannins. So when I say tannins, I'm reflect. I'm thinking about wine, right? Like, especially when you have like really young Cabernet Sauvignon, you get like a lot of tannins. It's mouth larynging. You kind of get it on the side of your tongue. So it was very reminiscent of Cab, actually. So got a lot of that, and especially on the finish, it was just lingered on and on and on. Um, but the tannins is also interesting because it could be mistaken as, well, not mistaken, but I could also view it as like having a very dry profile.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of construction, it was actually pretty good. A bit surprising for how good it is for Aganorsa stuff or Tabsa stuff. Very good for performance. Only downside is some flaky ashes coming off. Other than that, even burn, sturdy ashes, cool burn, insane amount of smoking time. I smoked this in like 2 hours. And the draw was a little tight, but still really good.
All right. How about you, Seth?
Man, my flavor profile is so different. Man, mine's crazy. The one off Corona really starts for me. It's crazy. This first third, I was getting like this like herbal cream, damp wood, root beer. There's like this little marshmallow thing. June, you're looking at me like I'm nuts, man. It was, I swear,
Oh, that's cool, man.
I smoked several of these from a box. I'm not losing my mind.
He was drinking a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon before the
Yeah.
cigar.
Yeah, he was drinking. He was.
She had a wine beforehand.
You were throwing back the cabs. I was tripping on acid. And then once I get into the second third, it shows more like those cedar cream. I get some white pepper and herbal notes. Has this barnyard profile to it. And it remind me of, I don't know, whenever I talk about Cubans like Bolivar, I always talk about like that old school, like rural flavor profile country, kind of like, I don't know, June, if you know what I'm talking about, kind of with like H. Upman's too a little bit. It just kind of had like this old school Nicaraguan vibe to it. Wasn't really like modern. And then when I get into the final third, it just kind of softened a little bit. I was getting some almond and nutty notes, some soft cream and some wood, those barnyard flavors. Like June, this Corona, I mean, it took a while to smoke these things. They smoke slow, and I like the draw. It's a little bit snug, which I can get behind. Construction was fairly good for the first 2/3. It kind of went downhill in the end. And I would classify the cigar. I found it kind of to be just right around like the solid medium. I think I had it like around like a medium throughout for body strength and flavor. So it was unique. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, wood, earth, cinnamon. Pretty quickly, that cinnamon kind of morphs into a bit of a black pepper. About a half inch in the wood lightens up a little bit, and even though the pepper didn't have a bite, it was really full and kind of heavy on my palate. Red Trails kind of mix a slightly creamy wood and black pepper. A little bit of cream kind of joins the mouth draws as the third's ramping out. Black pepper's still pretty full in earthiness in the background. Strength slightly below medium. Second, third, the wood gained a little bit of a toasted note. Black pepper kind of faded out a little bit more. Half inch in, the cream ramps up, kind of becomes even with that toasted wood. Retrohale's mix of wood, black pepper. And as the third's coming to a close, the pepper's really faint. Toasted wood, cream up front. Strength is bumped up to medium. And final third, cream gets ahead of the toasted wood. A little further in, the wood loses that toast, gains a little bit of char, becomes even with the cream. A little further in, that charred wood takes the lead over the cream, and that's kind of how the cigar finishes out. Started heating up a little bit at the end to bring a little bit of mintiness in the profile, but it was kind of at the ending point, so it wasn't really a big player there. And then the strength bumped was slightly above medium for me in that final third. Regards to construction, I thought the burn was really good. A little bit wavy throughout. Never needed any attention. Ash held on in 3/4 inch increments. And in regards to the draw, it was a little bit tighter than I prefer, but didn't really cause any issues with the smoking experience for me. So, Jiunn, what were your overall thoughts on this one?
This cigar got me so drunk. I don't know. No. So, I mean, I for real. I talk a lot about like tannins, especially tannins in the sense of like wine tannins, like a dry red wine. So, very characteristics of pretty much all, especially California reds out there that are cab kind of variant or Syrahs or that nature. It needs time. It needs time to age. It needs time to meld. This is kind of neat because this is something that I would buy multiples of, not because it tastes really good right now, because it doesn't. But this would be something that's cool to like smoke one of every few months to kind of gauge where it's at. So for that purpose, I will buy multiples of. Initially, when I saw Corona, and I was like, well, was it like $12 or $13?
$13, yeah.
I was like, oh, it's kind of steep. It's kind of like what Dion's doing is one-off thing. The MSRP is a little bit up there, but I got so much smoking time out of this thing. I was actually almost ready to go to bed, and I was like, damn, I'm still fucking smoking this thing. So, it's worth your money.
Yeah. How about you, Seth?
I'm not sold that this thing is gonna. This is one of those moments where I don't know if it's gonna age out. I don't know if maybe I can't get behind it. I don't know what it is. I've smoked, I got a box and I've smoked like 5 of them, and it's one of those things where I don't see it going down to that next level. I think it'd be exciting if it does, but I don't see it with this. But at the same time, I've heard people say that it smokes better in the bigger ring gauges. So maybe it's just a ring gauge thing. I don't know.
Well, I could actually talk about that.
Okay.
I don't know. I know we're reviewing the Corona, but I think quite the opposite. I think the Coronas hit the flavors like right off the bat, whereas the bigger ring gauge that I've had, just especially I had it in the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a 52 or 53 ring. And it took a while. It took like almost like the first third to like get into the actual flavors.
Oh, really?
So,
I haven't. I mean, in terms of price point, that really doesn't bother me. I mean, people better get used to it because that big old FDA is coming for you, baby.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get behind it. It's not one of those blends that I really would go for. I think if for some of his little more softer, more flavor focused blends, I think he's got some other stuff out there that I'd smoke on it. So I just wasn't sold on it. I just couldn't really get behind it. I mean, it had some unique characteristics and it'd be cool if it ages out well. But as of right now, I'm just not really that sold on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never smoked any of the previous iterations of the one-offs. I can't really compare in regards to that. But just in regards to this cigar, it's kind of a woody, creamy, peppery profile. Construction is really good. You guys talk about the slow burn and long smoking time. Strength hovered around medium, so it's not anything that's gonna affect somebody that's not used to the strength. I think it's another nice cigar for the portfolio. I mean, I'd be interested in smoking some of the larger ring gauges as well. I think we're all pretty interested to smoke the plus 53 Vitola. It's supposed to be a different blend, so it carries a very high price point. So I think we're all kind of intrigued to see what that is. I think it's worthwhile for people to try this cigar and kind of get a gauge it for it themselves. I felt like I could see some similarities to other stuff in the portfolio, and then also see where it's a little bit different. So, I don't think it's necessarily something that only people that smoke Illusione is going to enjoy. I mean, I think other people can get into it if they like it and see that. But yeah, so getting into the scores, we'll start from the top. Jiunn with a 6.92, then I had a 6.57, and Seth, you had a 6.25. So we're all pretty close. How do you think that matched up with your experience, Jiunn?
Matched pretty well. I thought the flavor profile was consistently good, and I rated it as such. Burn and draw to be a lot better than what I expected out of Tabsa. So that certainly helped.
Yeah. And for me, yeah, I think that the flavor profile is good. I had really good construction as well. Final third dropped off a little bit, but overall, I thought the cigar was good. How about you, Seth?
Yeah, I think that score lines up from where it is. Jiunn makes me interested in seeing where it ages, and I really like what you said, Aaron. I think it's one of these things that I think it could actually speak to a lot of people who aren't Illusione smokers.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts from you guys on this one?
So Seth, earlier when you were talking about the cigar, kind of had that like old Cuban Upman.
Yeah, man, talk to me.
Thing. So speaking on regards to that, I think that's why I like Aganorsa tobacco so much, because it reminds me of the nearest non-Cuban tobacco you could get that could somewhat mimic what a good Cuban has, right? Like, except I do think Aganorsa tobacco does spice better than Cuban cigars. But
yeah, they do spice better, but I mean, it just had this like, I mean, if for those who smoke Cubans, like I always feel like Juan Lopez, H. Upman, and Bolivar really deliver like this sweet, spice, leathery, woody, barnyard flavor profile. And it's kind of, you can kind of get that sometimes with Aganorsa, especially their Jalapa stuff. And I just think that this cigar just didn't like make me think of those. I don't want people smoking this and being like, this doesn't smoke like a Cuban H. Upman. But it just, that old school flavor profile had me thinking about that. And I don't know if that's what Dion's intention was, to just kind of make like this old school Nicaraguan puro.
All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. Also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all our favorite social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.